I have to admit, I'm having a really hard time watching the early episodes of MLP through the lens of my hunches. It's starting to get a little creepy, not just because I'm getting new insights, but because other items seem to be fitting into place before I've even rewatched particular scenes. I was getting screen grabs from the Changeling Invasion, the Cutie Map timelines, and the Wendigo Winter when I had not so much a new hunch, but what seems to be confirmation of an older hunch. And I've got news for you. I wasn't just right. I wasn't right enough. Sometimes you find something by accident, something nifty, that seems to confirm another investigation, that links several ideas and expectations at the same time, all while not meaning to. And as we know, scientific discoveries go boink. I think I had something go boink here. I've talked about how things in the MLP verse have been hidden in plain sight. For instance, the element of magic in the castle of the two sisters. Listen to this from the Cutie Map's Changeling War timeline.
Is it Cora?
And now from the real Changeling Invasion.
Right, you are.
We could easily justify reusing the same music and sound effects based on economics and the time constraints of creating the show, but I don't think that's the only reason. At the end of the Changeling Invasion of Canterlot, Twilight frees Cadence, who goes over to Shining Armor. They're both tired and exhausted, touch horns, exchange power, and suddenly, boom! Shining's protection bubble explodes, sending Team Rocket blasting off again! Listen to that scene and watch carefully. Now compare that to these.
What's this? No.
Cadence and Shining Armor's love shield explosion works the same as the elements of harmony. Magic amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, otherwise known as a maser. Actually, maser is a real thing. It's just microwave instead of magic, but you get the idea. But it's not just that Cadence and Shining Armor need each other. It's that Cadence specifically needed Shining. I'll explain why in a minute. In both cases, there is levitating, glowing eyes, and an inability to fire off their power alone. There needs to be a critical mass of magic before the final delivery happens. And That's exactly the same way I described Rainbow Dash's first sonic rainboom. I am now convinced that Cadence is the element bearer of love, and that Mazer Blast of theirs would have resonated out across Equestria and reactivated the Crystal Heart, bringing it, the Crystal Empire, and Sombra back from their banishment. This all sounds great, and you got pretty much this from the title, but what's all this about me being not right enough? We had information hidden in plain sight again. First, the legend of Nightmare Night's Nightmare Moon hid Princess Luna's true identity. Second, the old mare's tale of the sonic rainboom hid the element of Harmony's true power. And third, the heartwarming play hid the true nature and identity of the third alicorn princess of Equestria, Cadenza, but with a little creative license. A flaming heart instead of a glowing crystal one, for instance. That would mean that at the formation of Equestria, there would have been 3 alicorns, Celestia, Luna, and Cadenza, but only 2 of them were on the flag of Equestria, and Twilight saw only those 2 when Nightmare Moon tried to take over and was banished. Where would Cadenza have been? The simple answer is leading the Crystal Empire. And as we know, some years later, Sombra attacked. Cadenza, in need of help with this coup, would have been in contact with post-Nightmare Moon Celestia. Without the elements of harmony, the Empire fell. Cadenza escaped, but needed somewhere to live. Celestia, burdened with the newly reformed Equestria and with the agreement to the Alicorn Amulet's ambassador, could not have allowed another Alicorn to live in Canterlot. So Cadenza went into hiding, moving into one of the new towns of Equestria, maybe even helping to establish a few. And because she'd looked like a young adult for centuries, she could use illusion to change her cutie mark, hide her wings, horn, or both. After some years, after the town was properly established, she'd just move to a new town many leagues away, changing her look and name all over again so no pony could guess who she was. And this would have gone on for centuries. Move to a new town, hide her true identity, until 3 things changed the playing field. The Alicorn Amulet and its ambassador were no longer needed. Magical cosmetics gave ponies the ability to look like alicorns themselves, and the element of magic announced its return. Once Celestia found out about Shining Armor's cutie mark, she fast-tracked him through the Royal Guard and trained him to become captain of the Guard, putting who she thought was going to be the next element bearer close to herself. Being the highest ranking and most visible Royal Guard has some inherent risks, especially to his family. Shining's parents could have been used as leverage against him if they were ever kidnapped, though they would be able to just say, "Never worry about our lives, do what you need to do." But Twilight, his magically semi-inept kid sister, yes, magically semi-inept. Look at her here trying to do some magic.
I poured myself into learning everything I could about magic.
She'd need the highest protection possible. So now Cadenza, the element bearer of love, is brought on board in secret, changing her name to Cadence. She takes on the job as Twilight's full sister and secret protector. An alicorn princess hiding in plain sight under another assumed name. But that got all screwed up when the sonic rain boom struck and showed Twilight, not shining armor, to be the true bearer of the element of magic. That's right, I said it. Shining armor almost became the bearer of the element of magic, obviously, but it goes further than that. Cadence and Shining grew infatuated with each other and fell in love. After Nightmare Moon's return and Twilight obviously no longer needed protection, Cadenza would tell Shining the truth. Who she was, the Crystal Empire's fall to Sombra, and that she was its rightful ruler. He'd tell her it was time to come out of the shadows, to reclaim her name, title, and empire with him at her side as husband, prince consort, and captain of the Royal Guard of Equestria. That's why Twilight had no idea who Princess Mi Amore Cadenza was when the wedding invite got to her. Now Shining Armor, who was almost the bearer of the element of magic, putting him one hoof length away from being an alicorn himself, and Mi Amore Cadenza, herself an alicorn and element bearer, have an alicorn foal. And that's why Equestria had never seen a natural-born alicorn before. Because until that point, there had been no male alicorns to conceive a new alicorn foal. So there we have it. The heartwarming play was just another oral tradition of passing down equestrian history, while hiding that same history from everyone. So that if anything happened to Celestia, she could have had her Yoda moment and whispered, "There is another alicorn." If you have any ideas you'd like me to investigate, please let me know, and I'll see what I can do about them, because, as you know, I'll likely have some hunch about that as well. As always, until next time, safe travels every pony. I wish you well, and may Luna watch over you.